Alright, welcome everybody. This is Nick with O3 Drop. So in this video we do have Eric on the left hand side playing Mira, and on the right hand side we do have Cory, who is also playing Mira. This was the final round of our BCC tournament from this past Thursday night. These are both interesting decks. If I recall correctly, I think they're actually pretty different, even though they are running both the Mira leaders. You will also notice on the left hand side with Eric, he has the nice little hard case on his. I believe I actually gave one to Cory too, but I guess he's just way too cool to use it. Thanks, Cory. Nah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that already looks like a pretty spicy card. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but that was King Vegeta's surprise attack, so that'll be pretty spicy. Now, I believe this match was pretty long, so if I do get quiet every now and then, it's just me muting my mic to clear my throat, because this is probably going to be quite a long one if I recall correctly. I think they went to time or got really close to it. Now, I do know Cory on the right hand side is going first, so we'll see what he decides to do. There are some very interesting cards in these hands. I'm pretty excited for this one. So it looks like he does play down the Gotenks' energy and then plays the Trunks. So with this new Trunks, you look at the top two cards, you put one Saiyan in your hand and then discard whatever the other card is. And he did pull the 3-drop Gotenks off that, and he did discard the Time's Judgment. So let's see what Eric decides to do here. So it looks like Eric is going to play the Senzu Bean down his energy. I have no idea what's in his deck, so I don't know if that's good or bad. But he is going to go ahead and swing with that Mira card. Now, the Mira, what it does is whenever you swing with it, you have to discard the top 2 cards from your deck. At that point, if you have a green card in either your discard pile or your drop area, or your battle area, you get to draw 1. Now, a lot of players, whenever they first play Mira, they don't realize it's also their battle area, but it is. So even if you have no greens in your discard pile, you do still get to draw if there's something in your battle area. And it actually might be green-blue. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do know it's at least green. So after he swung, Eric went ahead and passed. It looks like Cory did take the damage. So now on Cory's turn, he did lay down that Gotenks' energy and swinging into Eric. So he is going to discard. Look at that Gohan. Now, unfortunately, he did discard one of his super combos, so that's not cool. But he did at least get to draw from it, and then Eric did take the damage. So now he taps 2 to play the Kaba. Interesting. Now, with this Kaba, you do get to look at the top 10 cards from your deck, and you do get to find either a Khalifa or a Kale and add it to your hand. And it looks like he is going to go ahead and play that Kale. Well, I'll grab the Kale. Now, keep in mind, the Kaba does reduce the cost of the Kales and Khalifas in your hand by 1. So the important thing is once they go down to the field, they're back to their usual cost. So, for example, if you had 4 Kabas and you played a Kale for free, once it's on the battlefield, it is back up to 4. And that is super important with some of the mechanics in the game. So after that, Cory did just go ahead and pass. And back on Eric's turn, he does lay down one of the androids as energy. And it looks like he's now going to swing at the leader. So we'll go ahead and mill the top 2. And there goes a super combo from him, as well as a 1-drop Toa. No combos. Let's see what Cory decides to do here. And he's going to take that as well. To be honest, there's really no reason not to take this at this point. He's really not threatening, and it would just be a waste of your hand to try to combo out of that. If it was critical, like maybe combo 1 card to save it, but it's not, so just take it. Now, in response, Eric did go ahead and play the Mira. What that does is you move 3 cards from your drop area to your warp, and when you play it, your opponent has to discard a card. So that's why he went ahead and played that, made Cory discard 1, and then just pass his turn. He doesn't want to awaken Cory just yet, and so he didn't want to put him down at 5 because that means next turn he would have to awaken if he swung with his leader. So he saved the attack so he can still swing 2 more times with his leader, draw 2 more cards before Cory actually gets to awaken. Unless Cory plays the Khalifa. So it looks like Cory did play the 1-drop Trunks down his energy. So let's see what he does from here. It looks like he's thinking about a Cabo or a Kale. I think I would probably prefer the Cabo in this situation, honestly. Just because Eric doesn't really have anything out to pop just yet, so the Kale, you'd be kind of wasting the ability. The Cabo would also likely replace itself in your hand, so you're not -1. But first, he did go ahead and swing with his leader. He did discard the 2, and of course, he has a green card on the field, so he did draw. And Eric's just going to take that and go down to 6. So it looks like Cory's looking through his drop area right now. I think he's trying to figure out if his super combos would be active if he were to play a black card at the moment, or an overwhelm card. And based on his discard pile, it does look like it would be. So he's still trying to decide here between this Cabo or the Kale. The Kale is nice, though, because it would give him a critical swing. I think it would be a little bit of a waste, and I'd probably rather like to see the Cabo this turn. But he is going to go ahead and play the Kale, and he's going to pop that Trunks. Ooh, and it looks like he's just going to pass. Oh, nope. I guess they're just messing around. I know they're having a lot of fun before the recording actually started. So he is going to swing into Eric, and Eric's just going to take the 1. And that Whis could come in handy later, so that could be a big thing right there. But it does put Eric 1 card closer to Awakening. Plus, he does get to draw with his leader on the unawakened side, so he's not super concerned about it. Now, let's see if Eric has an answer to this Kale, though. That's going to be really interesting this turn. So he does play the second green energy. And he is actually going to swing at the Kale, it looks like. Mill the 2, draw the 1. I think it looks like he might actually have the new special pack promo. So it looks like he might play that actually. Or he's just going to combo. Okay. So that was actually the Mira that I saw then. So it looks like that's going to put him at 20. And that puts him at 25. So let's see if Cory defends the Kale here. So to me, the scary thing about what Cory did here is he tapped out. And like, at this point in the game with everything that's going on, like, I could never tap out anymore. Unless I was playing the Goku that untaps at the end of my turn. With so many crazy combos now, like, I would just be scared to tap out at this point. Ooh, and he does play the Mass Saiyan, so that is going to get rid of the Kale. Or he's going to get rid of the Cabo. Let's see which one he chooses. So here, I think Eric thought that he could get rid of them both because he didn't realize that the Cabo only reduces it in hand. Also, that should have gone to the Warp, not to his discard pile. But, I mean, I don't think it really matters just because I think he had so many cards in the drop area already. But for the record, that should have gone to the Warp. But obviously neither player caught it. And again, I don't think it really makes too much of an impact at this point. So it's not a huge thing. Honestly, I might have actually sent the Cabo there and just swung at the Kale with the Bardock. Because at that point, he had already discarded 2 to save the Kale. So anymore, I mean, you're talking about 3 cards plus that he would have had to discard to save it. So I might have sent the Cabo and then attacked the Kale. But either way, it doesn't matter. It was still a decent play. He did remove the Kale, which was the important thing. And so Cory here attacking Eric, and Eric just went ahead and took that and went down to 4. Obviously, Eric did get the draw off his leader swing. So right now, he's playing the Time Patrol Trunks and trying to figure out what he wants from it. Sometimes when players are making this decision for Time Patrol Trunks, you would think it was like the most important decision they've ever made. It's pretty funny sometimes. I've literally seen players put 1 card back on top and then change their mind and then put the other card back on bottom and like just go back and forth. It's hilarious. So Cory is going to play that second Cabo and he's going to grab a Khalifa off that. So at this point, Eric's already in the range to be awoken. If I was Cory, I might actually start trying to swing in on him more because sure he'll flip and draw the two, but if you can swing in on him with a couple different threats, you're gonna make him discard those two to save himself or take the damage. Which, in this point in the game, you really don't want to be, down at what 2-3 life. Now he did get to play the Khalifa for free, and then he did pop the card or take the life. Now, because of the 2 combos, he also just got to play the Kale for 2, which is always nice. And he didn't even have to pop anything because of the Khalifa. Now, with that Kale swing, he was at, I believe it was 5 cards, so he got to draw to 6. And now he's going to combo the Trunks to make that 25k. Let's see what Eric does here. Now, if Eric wants to block this, he is going to have to combo with at least 2 cards. Now, one interesting thing about the Mira leader is rather than drawing 2 whenever you awaken, you actually just get 1 back from the warp. So in that case, knowing that, this is actually a really good play because Eric only +1 for his awaken, and now he's going to have to discard at least 2 to not take the damage here, especially because it's crit. I don't know how he just drew off of that. I'm actually a little confused. I think he thought that was a super combo. And I think Cory just looked at it too. Hold on. Yeah, I think Eric grabbed the wrong card. Okay, so the problem there is that Eric still drew from that. If only there was a competent judge around. I'm pretty sure that the person who was judging this was probably autistic and just not paying. Actually, no. It was me, and I was on the other side of the room helping out some other players. So, although for the record, I could be pretty stupid, so who knows. So, Cory just went ahead and ended up passing the turn back to Eric. And then Eric plays the Senzu Bean down his energy, so that is going to put him at 4. Cory never brought this to my attention, so I'm guessing either he doesn't realize that Eric actually drew off that, or he just doesn't care. Again, this is kind of a casual tournament. No one's going super duper hardcore. To be honest, I think the game state could have been fixed if Eric would have just picked up the 1-drop Toa and switched it with a super combo. Because I know he had at least 1 in hand before he, like when he laid that down. Especially because he only drew 1 card, so there's no way he drew 2 super combos off of 1 draw. So like he could have just swapped the Toa with a super combo and that would have been fine. Had Cory brought this to my attention, that's probably what I would have done. So now though, Eric is going to go ahead and swing, and he is going to combo 1, and that's going to be the super combo. And it looks like he was swinging at the Kale. And Eric just combos his own super combo back to save it. The Mira was at 25, and so that put the Kale at 30 to block. So let's see what Eric decides to do here. The scary thing is that Eric is starting to get a pretty big board state. So, Cory is starting to get a pretty big board state. So Eric's going to want to try to clear some of that off if he can. I know he's already played 1 Mass Saiyan. I don't know how many more he runs in this list. But, I mean, if he has them, he needs to get them out to start clearing some of this. And it looks like Eric's just going to pass with 4 energies up. So Cory's going to untap everything and lay down an energy. Let's see what he picks. And so it looks like he's considering the 5-drop Gotenks. Now, this is a hard decision for him, though, because it is turn 5, so maybe he could play that Gotenks if he chose to. So let's see if he picks something else or if he ends up laying that down. Alright, now he's got a different card it looks like he's thinking about. Cory is so suspenseful. And he chooses the Time's Judgment. You know, that's a really interesting negate card, because if it saves you a game, then it's totally worth it. But if it's not like, you know, I block this or I lose, I don't know how worth it really is. Because all the other negates actually do something. You know, even if it's not always useful, you know, they do something. The red negate stands something up. The blue negate stands your energy back up. The yellow negate didn't exist until this set. And then obviously the green one pops in 1 cost. So Cory did go ahead and play down the Gotenks. And then he went ahead and played down the Trunks. Now it looks like his options here are another 5-drop Gotenks or a Mass Saiyan. So if I was Cory in this situation, if I'm swinging for game this turn, I take the Mass Saiyan. If I'm not swinging for game this turn, then I probably just take that Gotenks. Because next turn he'll be able to play it, and again, you know, tap 5 on tap 2, draw a card. It's always nice. But yeah, that Mass Saiyan could have helped him swing for game this turn if that was what he was going for, but it looks like he's not. Depending on how many cards he has in hand, I might at least want to swing with the KL. His deck is getting kind of thin. If he doesn't swing with Mira, that's definitely understandable. Because again, that's, you know, 2 to 3 more cards out of your hand. But yeah, definitely with the KL. And comboing up to 25 is always the preferred thing to do here, and that's what he does. So that is going to be 25 single crit at Eric. Let's see if he blocks it. Now, the good thing about this is that's going to get 3 cards out of Eric's hand. Well, 2 cards at least. So let's see. He does combo with the Mira, so that puts him at 25, so he does need 5 more. And then he throws down a Sensu Bean. Alright, so let's see if Cory attacks with anything else. So, again, that was 2 cards out of his hand, or out of Eric's hand, that Cory just got with 1 attack. The Trunks was already used. I mean, he got the value out of it, so it's not like it was doing anything else on his board, but just sitting there. And it looks like he is going to go ahead and pass. Now, Eric does have his Cell Absorption in his hand. I don't think that that's going to be super useful in this case, just because of how many cards Cory actually has. So I might consider charging that if I was Eric. Unless he has a way that I don't know of to cheat that card into play. I don't think the Cell's Absorption costing 4 in this deck is going to be the best thing for this late game. And the reason you would play that down as energy over the Toa is because the Toa is at least a 5k combo. Whereas the Cell's Absorption, if you're not going to play it, that's just a dead extra card in your hand. So it looks like he's swinging. I'm not sure if that's going to be into the Kale or the Mira. Yep, it's going to be the Kale. So let's see. He draws 1 for the auto. Ooh, that's actually going to be negated. Okay. Cory does not want his Kale to go down, and that's definitely understandable. Now, it looks like Eric has a couple of Kales of his own, but up until now, he wasn't really able to play them just because he didn't have anything to pop, so she would have just popped herself. But now that he did play that Boo, that does open up some options for him. The one scary part about playing this Kale, though, is if he does play it, he is going to tap out. And considering how big Cory's board state is, I just don't know if that's worth it. But Eric is going to go ahead and do that. So that pops the Boo, and he chooses to pop the Gotenks. Definitely a good decision there. Now, at this point, I'd probably swing into the Kale. And yeah, it looks like he is going to swing into the Kale. It looks like he has 6 cards in hand already, so I don't think he's going to draw anything off of this. And Cory's just going to give up a Kaba to protect it. So Eric's going to pass back over to Cory. Now, at some point, Cory is going to have to start swinging for the fences, because Cory's deck is getting pretty thin. He probably only has, you know, maybe 3 to 4 more attacks with his leader before he decks out. So if I'm Cory, like, I do start thinking, okay, now I need to start going at his life. To be honest, even leaving the Kale up in Cory's situation is probably okay, Because if you swing the Kale, the Khalifa, and your leader at his leader, and actually there's the second Khalifa, so that's going to help him awaken. But if you swing all those at Eric's leader, he's going to be forced to either discard almost his entire hand or take the damage. And again, in this meta, you don't want to go down to 2 or 3 life. It's just, that's one of the scariest things you can do at this point. Now, and it looks like Cory actually plays another Kale as well. So he does get that for the 3 cost. So he got the Khalifa for the 1 cost, and then he played the Kale for the 3 cost. So he does awaken, and he's going to grab a battle card out of his warp. I'm guessing it's probably going to be a super combo if there's one in there. And there it is. There's the super combo. That is one cool thing about this leader. And honestly, that right there went from 1 card to being 2, because when he combos with a super combo, he'll get to draw 1. So it's almost like he just awoken, a regular leader. So he did go ahead and swing with the Kale, and he drew 1 off the Kale ability, and then he also drew 1 off the super combo there. So he's at 30k critical to Eric. Let's see if he combos anymore. It doesn't look like he's going to. Ooh, maybe he is. Alright, so that's going to be 40k critical to Eric, and Eric's just going to take that. He knows there's nothing he can do about that one. Now, seeing that 4 cost Bardock there, I do remember Eric does play the 5 cost Bardock as well. So if this goes to another turn, Eric could just play out the 5 cost Bardock, wipe Cory's entire field, and call it a day. So it looks like, though, Cory is going to go ahead and swing with the other Kale, and he's going to pump that one up to 30k so far. And Eric just takes that one as well. Alright, so I think Cory's trying to figure out what he wants to do for the rest of this turn. Oh no, okay, so Cory swung with Mira. Okay, so that's what it was. I don't really blame Eric for blocking that, because realistically, if he wouldn't have taken that, then Eric would have just went all in on one of these Khalifas, and that would have been bad for him. So now he's going to go ahead and pitch the super combo to block that Khalifa attack. Let's see if Eric swings with the other Khalifa. Or, sorry, Cory. Oh my gosh, I'm just getting them mixed up. So let's see if Cory swings with the other Khalifa. And he does. So let's see what Eric's going to do here. It looks like he does have the 3-drop Mira in hand as well. So he has... Ooh, okay, so he does play that 3-drop Mira to block. So this means that basically he's praying to draw the Bardock this turn. Otherwise, he's in quite a bit of trouble. I do believe that Bardock has triple strike, if I recall correctly, though. So if he does draw that Bardock, that could be a game winner for him. And he does play down that Cell's Absorption now. So it looks like he does have the Mira he needs. I just don't know if it's going to be enough at this point. I just think that Cory has too much of a board state, and without being able to clear it, there's just not a lot that Eric can do. If I was Eric, I would probably swing with my leader just to see if I could draw into the Bardock before I did anything else. But he is going to go ahead and play that Mira. Alright, so I think Eric's trying to figure out what he wants to do here. And he's going to swing at Cory's leader. And he is going to combo with that Bardock now. So that is going to put the Mira at 30k critical at Cory. I probably wouldn't have done that, to be honest. I would have waited. Unless that Mira that he just played now has triple strike. Now, this was a really good play by Eric. He did choose the 1 open energy, and he also chose the Kaaba. So, picking the Kaaba does take away 1 5k combo from Cory. So, that was a really good play to make. And then, obviously, taking away the 1 energy does stop any kind of negates or anything like that. So, it looks like he's not going to combo on the Mira, though. To be honest, that probably would have been the one where you want to combo on your leader, because it's just an easy 5k block for Cory if he doesn't. And let's see. So I think this is probably basically game at this point. Eric is going to go ahead and swing with the Mira. But I think the Mira is double strike rather than triple strike, so I don't think it really matters too much. And here Cory's just double checking to make sure before he takes the damage. And yeah, I think Eric just conceded. So, and you can see Cory's hand was pretty loaded with stuff to use. So yeah, that was a great game. Thanks for both players for being on stream. That was actually a lot of fun. So thank you guys for watching if you're still watching. If you haven't yet, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you think I can improve. So again, I appreciate it, guys. Again, this is Nick with O3 Drop, and y'all have a great evening.